Hi everyone, and welcome to the first ever One Pod Life. If you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that I'm pretty addicted to golf, and I've really got an aspiration to try and make it to some form of pro level. I'm not saying I'm going to be on the European tour playing with the likes of Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods or whatever, but I do believe that there's a chance that I could possibly make it to the level of the guys that I'm actually talking to on this podcast, and that's the reason why I set this up. So I'm aiming to get some really good insights from these professional golfers that are playing on tours such as Jamaica, Europro, Clutch, even the LET Access Tour. So yeah, I want to bring you guys some insights. So if you're aspirational like myself and you want to hear and know what it actually takes to become a professional golfer, we can go on this journey together. So with that in mind, I got my first ever guest on today. His name is Michael Farrier-Twist, and he currently is a professional golfer playing on tours such as Jamaica. He's trying to qualify for the Europro Tour, going through tour school. And we just had a quick little chat about his journey, how he started playing golf, which we'll hear about in a second. And yeah, just get an idea of how his journey has evolved and what his aspirations are for the future. And then right at the end, he gives us 3 little tips on how he thinks someone like myself can actually then progress to become a professional golfer. So give you a little bit of background. Michael turned pro off a handicap of +2. He'll tell you about the story about how he actually turned pro. And then we can get into it. He's also caddied on the European Tour, which was a very interesting listen, so give that a go. And so I hope you guys really enjoy the first ever episode, and it can bring some insights and some insightfulness for you guys as well. I thought it was really good, and at the end I'll give you a quick little rundown of what it is Michael thinks it takes to actually become a professional golfer. So without further ado, here's Michael Farrier-Twist. Right, evening, Michael, and welcome to the first ever One Pod Life. How you getting on?
Good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for being the first ever guest. Like I said, we're both learning as we do this, so we'll see how we get on. But yeah, so I thought I'd run down again why I wanted to start doing One Pod Life. So I've got aspirations of being a professional golfer of some stature. God knows what that will be, but we'll find out. But yeah, currently playing off roughly about 9. So yeah, I just wanted to gain insights and advice really from people like yourself who are at the top of the game, trying to get even higher, and just see what your journey and how you tell other people how they should go about it. So let's start with the easy question. Why did you start playing golf?
Why did I start playing golf, or when was that? Sorry.
When or why? It's entirely up to you.
So I think I was about 13 when I started playing.
Okay.
So my dad had played golf. He'd played golf most of his life, and he got to a single-figure handicap. And I remember it was like one summer he tried to get me into playing golf, but I was semi-interested.
Right.
And I'm right-handed at everything I do, right-footed, and he's a lefty as a golfer. So I went out to the golf course with him, and I think the first time I had a go was, I think I used a set of right-handed golf clubs just on the driving range, and then picked up one of his clubs, and it just seemed a lot more natural.
Right, okay, that's interesting.
He then tried to get me into having like lessons and things, but I wasn't really overly interested. And it wasn't until there's a guy that I knew that lived down the road from where I was, and then he had started having some golf lessons, and that was it. I decided, right, I'm going to have some lessons and give it a go. And we went out there and signed me up, and I became a part of the junior team out there. And the junior section was really good at my golf club, and that was it really. It got me started, and I left-handed.
So that explains left-handed swing. That's interesting. Like I said, you just picked up his clubs and it felt natural, a bit like Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, I mean, when I was at school, sorry, Karen.
That's all right, cool.
Yeah, so when I was at school, like if we ever played in P or something, if we played cricket or rounders or whatever it would be, I would always want to stand as a left-hander and the teachers always try and get me to stand the other side, but it didn't feel natural. So I think it's a mixture of, it feels more natural to me for some reason, and then the fact that my dad was left-handed, so
it works.
I was used to it. Yeah, exactly.
It works. Let's not break it, sort of thing. So that's pretty good. I was just saying, it's a bit like Phil Mickelson. He's right-handed, isn't he? But plays left-handed. So
yes, there's a few. I mean, there's a lot of left-handed people that play right-handed due to.
Yeah. I play a lot of sports with my right hand. I'm right-handed. I'm right-footed. For the life of me, though, I can't throw a dart with my right hand, so I throw darts with my left hand. So, it's an interesting one. Yeah, it's weird. I don't quite know how it is.
It is strange.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it is what it is. We get by.
Yeah. Different.
Exactly. Yeah. So obviously, so your dad got you into playing golf. You started playing with a guy that you met down there, started having lessons. So when did it all start to click in? You sort of get to realise that this is actually something you're actually quite good at and could possibly become pro at. I'm
not really sure exactly what point I decided that I wanted to. I mean, when I first started playing, I remember my dad specifically asking me after a few years, saying, "Would you ever like to be a pro?" And I didn't really have any interest, to be honest.
Okay.
And then I guess as I got better and saw it as an option potentially, it's something that I was fixed. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay. So do you get any idea what sort of age that was, or roughly?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
No? Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, so obviously, when you did turn pro, what was the process? Did you just? I don't know. Obviously, I've never really looked at. I've looked into how you can turn pro, but is it just a matter of you woke up one day and right, that's it, I'm going to be pro today, or is there a process that you had to follow?
So, I mean, I remember specifically the moment I decided I wanted to turn professional. I'd thought about it obviously for years, but I didn't know when I wanted to turn pro and what year I was going to do it.
Okay.
And then we were in holiday at the time in Florida. And one of my friends had just turned professional back in the UK, played his first tournament. It was just a one-day event. And he won his first tournament. So to me, we were very similar standards. And we played a bit of golf growing up together. And I remember sending a text to my coach at the time and saying, I want to talk about turning pro. And, I wasn't really enjoying amateur golf. I didn't like the whole handicap thing. And I just wanted to get out of there and play for some money and test myself, really, see how good I really was.
Okay. Well, it was interesting that you said, I guess, did you win your first competition when you did turn pro, like your friend, or was it?
Well, so my first tournament, it was 2013 I turned pro, and I played my first tournament. It was on the EP tour at Waterton Heath. I birdied the very first hole and thought, right, here we go. I think I went on, I shot about 82 or 83 in the end, so it didn't quite go to plan. But
right, okay.
Yeah.
If you play the first hole, think this pro life's easy, isn't it? And then
exactly. I thought, this will be all right. Yeah, I've got a chance here.
Okay, so you turned pro in 2013.
Yeah, soon hit reality. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you turned pro in 2013. You've had, I guess, 7 years. Has it been solid 7 years pro, or has it been stops and starts? Have you had to do other things in between, or have you been able to actually sustain the life of a pro just by playing?
Yeah, I mean, I've played every year.
Okay.
I've played every year, but I never until a few years ago really committed to playing a full year. I'd play a few events and I'd probably be struggling and sort of thought, I just want to practice for a bit, and wondered whether I was good enough. So I never really, until a few years ago, I never really committed myself to actually playing full time as such, to playing full time tournament golf anyway.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, I was also as well, obviously, I guess as a pro golfer, I'm guessing you're devoting, obviously, last couple of years, especially, you devoted a lot of your time to playing and training for this goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you fund that? Is it just through sponsorship, or is it through working a part-time job, or what?
Yeah, so I've actually got a full-time job as well. I work there's a local charity which supports people with sight impairments. Right. And I have a job. My job title is called a low vision support worker. Right. So I work for them, but the flexibility of it is that I can do stuff. It's not a 9-to-5 job as such. So I visit people at home with sight impairments and things, but a lot of it can be done over the phone. So I can do that while I'm away at tournaments. I can do home visits in the evenings and weekends. So it's really flexible.
Okay. No, that's really good.
So that works perfect for me. I'm very lucky to have that.
And I was going to say, because obviously
various sponsorships, but that pays a big chunk of it, really.
Okay, because if I look at my personal, my own life, obviously I've got a full-time job. I start at 8 o'clock in the morning, I finish at 5:30 at night. So Monday to Friday,
exactly.
Exactly. So, I mean, going forward, I'd love to have a more flexible job where I could turn up and say, oh, actually, I'm not going to work today, or actually, I can't come in a bit later, or whatever. So,
But yeah,
I was just wondering, how is a life of pro? Is you wake up at whatever time o'clock in the morning you want to do, go training all day, and then you're done, or is it you do actually have to have a full-time job or a part-time job?
So yeah, I mean, I go into work in the morning. Do paperwork and things. Can do if I need to do any home visits or anything, I usually do them around midday, and then I've got the afternoon. I can go and do some practice or whatever.
Nice.
And then I can do home visits again in the evenings or weekends and fit around tournaments and things. So I'm very lucky to have it. It's the perfect job really for.
Have they got any vacancies?
For playing golf really?
I'm joking. All right, cool. So we've obviously had a chat before, and we talked about certain things that you've done throughout your sort of pro life. And you said the last couple of years have been really where you sort of focused on. And you did mention to me that 2018 was probably your best ever season. So obviously, talk me through that a little bit.
So I mean, the big thing really that helped, I think, towards 2018 being a good year was in the year before 2017. So I've grown up playing golf with Ben Evans, who's had a European Tour card. It's been on and off the main tour since I've started playing golf, really.
Right.
And in 2017, I did the qualifying for the Euro Pro Tour. Missed the cut at the final stage, which didn't give me a good category.
Oh.
And there was only one tournament that I really wanted to play, which was there's a local one to me half an hour from my home, so I could stay at home. Okay. And I knew I was going to be relying on an invite for it. And as it was leading up to that.
And what tournament was that?
That was East Sussex National, so on the Euro Pro Tour.
Yep.
And then leading on to that, Ben asked me at the golf club one day, he said, would you be interested in caddying? Because he needed a caddy it was Denmark in a few weeks' time. And I said I was waiting to hear back about this invite for the Euro Pro. And as it was, I never heard back about it. Right. So I went and caddied for him. And yeah, it was the start of something pretty good, really. It was, yeah.
So obviously, going to caddy for him then, what did you learn from that? Was it more about the way that, I guess, was he slightly better than you or higher up in the rankings, I guess, or? Yeah,
so he had a European Tour card from Tour School the year before.
Oh right, okay, cool. So the next sort of level.
But yeah, it was just finding out how the tour worked and everything. So I'm one of these people, I like to know exactly where I'm going, what's happening. So I remember texting him a few nights before saying what hotel we're staying in, how we getting from the airport to the hotel, and he was sort of very blasé about it, as though, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I just remember getting to the airport, getting to Gatwick, and there's other players there that you used to only see on telly. Right, so you flew out, and then there were, I think that week in Denmark, there was about 80 brand new BMW courtesy cars driving you around.
Wow.
So it was, and then
how the other half of though?
So yeah, my goal for that week was just to learn as much as I could. But as it was, when we arrived there, he was on the range a few days along from Martin Keimer and other big players there. And then I think it was through the tournament. So I think we just played the 10th hole on the second day. So we were 28 holes in, and we were missing the cut by one at the time. And I was thinking, we're going to be going home. And all of a sudden, he pressed on and he came back in 30, so made the cut comfortably. Had 6 birdies coming in.
Nice.
And then
did you have an input in that, or was it just all him?
I remember saying down the 11th a par 5 and just saying, come on, we've got plenty of holes left and we've got nothing to lose now, so let's just make some birdies.
Did he ask for your advice on the way around, or?
Not a huge amount, no. So I was still learning, really. So he even taught me how to use yardage book and things. And so yeah, I learned a lot like that. And then he went on to he shot 5 under Saturday, 5 under Sunday, and ended up coming third, which was his best ever finish, his biggest paycheck. And so yeah, it was a really good week. And then he kept me on the bag. And so I ended up doing sort of 8 tournaments after that. And yeah, it was a really good experience. I learned a lot. So
that's fantastic. So obviously everything you've learned, you obviously then took into your own playing career, and like you said, that just spurred you on for a good 2018.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing I learned from it was watching the guys playing, the pros out there on the main tour is, they're not. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong, but they're not. They haven't got that wow factor that people seem to think you've got to be amazing, and they are very, very good, but they just manage their games well. So they make the most of their games. They get it around in a good score. And I think that's the main thing I learned. It's not about being perfect. It's just about getting the ball in the hole, really.
So would that be your first sort of bit of advice then? And maybe someone like myself would actually start caddying for people, obviously not as the same level as Ben, but at least for like people who are playing on Jamaica or Clutch or even the other
I think even going to events and watching, so if you went to like a Euro Pro, even a Jamaica, and just watch the players, and there's not a huge difference between the top end players on the Euro Pro and the main tour. So,
well, I was lucky enough to play. I think it was last year. I was lucky enough to join up with Bandit Golf Apparel. We went to a day at the Royal Ascot Golf Club. And it was the Jamaica. Pardon me. With a Jamaica amateur pro-am on the Sunday, and managed to you with a guy called Sam Buss. Experience. A few other people were there. But yeah, just, like you just said, just even just watching him and watching others around me, I was like, wow, these guys are another level. I'd love the opportunity to, like you said, to caddy for someone and just have that full first-hand experience and just see what it's like.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, and even like Jamaica, they're good. They have pro-ams and Euro Pro have pro-ams, so you can always get involved and play with a pro, and that's a good way to try and learn, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, so what else happened in 2018 then that made it a good year for your playing career as well as caddying for Ben?
So I actually applied. I put a Just Giving page on in 2018 to try and raise money for European Tour School, and it ended up me getting a very good sponsor through a guy at my home golf club who really supported me, and that it took a lot of pressure off financially, but it also added pressure because obviously I'm using someone else's money. And you don't want to make yourself look silly.
No, of course not.
But and then so that year I then went on. I committed for the first time really to play. I entered sort of 8 and 9 tournaments, booked hotels, and I was committed to playing them tournaments.
Yeah.
I just got on a good run. I think the stats from 2018. I had 19 consecutive rounds without shooting over the par.
Nice.
I got my first win, which was at Royal Ascot actually.
Oh really? Yeah, I must say I did struggle around that golf course, if I'm honest.
It's a bit fiddly, isn't it?
I'd like to go
not a course you can just hit driver, is it?
No, cool. I can't even hit a driver, so it's not a problem. So, I'd like to go back and give it another go. But yeah, so you got sponsorship from the local guy from your club. So did that sponsorship then pay for like the entry fees for the competitions and travel? Or
so what he covered, he gave me a Premier Inn card, so I had hotels covered, and he also gave me a fuel card.
Oh, nice.
So I just had to pay the tournament entry fee and then the food for the week and anything extra. So
great stuff.
Yeah, it really helped. It was a huge help.
Oh, definitely. All right, cool. So that's like I said, one of my questions was going to be to you, how do you get sponsorship, or like I asked you earlier, how do you fund being a professional golfer? And I guess
I think you've got to promote yourself.
Yeah.
I think especially with social media and things. So the last couple of years I've put a lot of effort into Instagram, and that led to me when I did my Just Giving page, there was a guy in America, never met him before, never really spoken to him before. He sent me over some money, and then he asked for some advice for his game, so I gave him some help, and he ended up actually paying for European Tour School for me for 2 years. So he paid in 2018, 2019 for me, which is, and that's really nice. That's sort of nearly £2,000 a go for the tour school. So
can you send me his number so I can get that for the future?
So I just got lucky, and I think that's what it really is.
Well, like I say, obviously you started promoting obviously through Instagram a lot more and social media.
Yeah.
And that's obviously led to some big things for yourself. Obviously, what I've noticed recently is obviously you started working a bit more with FootJoy, which is great.
Yeah.
Which I guess also helps.
Yeah, that was a big opportunity. That is, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that saves money in certain areas. You can then use it to go do other things, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did that just come to you, or was that something you was looking for? Or
I'd been with a company the previous year, which I was really happy with. And then I was actually away at Centre Parks at the time, beginning of this year. And FootJoy contacted me saying about would I be interested in being an ambassador? And I sort of bit the hand off, and
of course
thought there's not really there's not a better brand out there that does everything really, shoes, clothing, they do everything.
Definitely.
They've got links with Titleist, which have helped me out a little bit. And so it's been really good.
All right, cool. So, halfway through 2018, you started, obviously, you getting help to get through the Q schools and get to tournaments and stay there. What else happened that actually sort of gave you that sort of kick to then really commit to going for another 2 years?
I think I just had such a good spell for sort of 6 or 7 tournaments. Well, 2018, I think I played 11 Jamigas, and in 8 of them I finished in the top 10.
Right.
And then I got my first win, and it was probably one of the strongest fields of the year, which was a big confidence boost.
No, definitely.
I had sort of Royal Ascot, so that was 2 rounds at Royal Ascot, and then the following week, which was at Hampworth, so I played the Pro-Am and then the 2-round tournaments, so over 5 rounds, and I was 27 under for them 5 rounds. Wow. And I shot 7 under 3 times in those 5 rounds, so it was a big, sort of came out of nowhere really, and just made me think I probably am good enough, so I might as well stick at this and see how far I can go really. And
yeah, confidence is a great thing, isn't it? You go out one day, you've got all the confidence in the world. The next day, you've got none.
Yeah, exactly.
Shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
don't even remember at the time particularly playing great golf. Like I wasn't hitting the ball amazing or perfect, but it was just just to be scoring well, which was what it's all about, isn't it? Really.
Like you said, you just said about the tour guys. They just get it round and get it in the hole. They're not playing
exactly.
golf. They're just doing what they got to do. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, you can play great golf and shoot level par, and you can go out and play pretty poorly and shoot 5 or 6 under. You just never know. That's golf, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, hopefully, when I go out on my first round out of lockdown, I'll have one of those crazy ones where I'll shoot 6 under. But the best I've ever done is the best I've ever done is 5 over. So we'll see how I get on.
That's good, though. Yeah.
That was over at Stoke Park. That was the one. That's where I shot that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty happy. That was just Christmas Eve, I forget. It was Christmas Eve as well, a couple of years ago, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, never forget. Well, not until you beat it.
Well, I can forget the name, but I couldn't forget the score. Freewood was on fire that day, so that was all good. All right, cool. So 2018, did you end up going to Q school at the end of 2018?
So after having such a good year, I then had tour school at the end of the year, which was at Fulford Heath.
Yep. Lovely course.
And the big difference for that week, I think, for players off the Jamaica and Europro, so on Jamaica and Europro, you're allowed to use lasers. So you can use like a Bushnell and things. Okay. Whereas when you go to European Tour School, that's all thrown out. You have to use a yardage book. You have to. Right, okay. I had an advantage, obviously, where I'd caddied on tour. The course is set up and marked like a European Tour event. So I had an advantage that I knew how to use the yardage book.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, I think I'd had such a good year up to then, and I was so confident, and I was convinced that I could have a European Tour card at the end of this, and there's no reason why not. And I knew I was good enough then. And I was out first in a 2-ball the first day at tour school, and I remember I think I was 6 or 7 over through 9, and just thinking, I just wanted to go home.
Right. Okay. It's not probably the best place to be. Yeah. So what do you reckon? Was that just bad luck, or is that overconfidence? Or
I was actually. I went into the week struggling. And then one of the local pros at my home club, he gave me some help, and then I started hitting the ball really nicely. So I remember warming up in the morning, hitting the ball really good actually. Okay. And I don't remember really hitting many bad shots. I just made the worst of every situation. So I just missed the green, not get it up and down. Made one mistake with my yardage book, which I used the wrong dot on the fairway. So I had 20 yards less than I thought I had, and ended up flying the green by 20 yards into a gorse bush and making like a double. And it all just snowballed really. And
yeah. So obviously Q school it's over 1 round, isn't it? So you've got to finish in the top certain amount of people. Is that correct?
So the European Tour School, it's over. So there's 3 separate stages. So the first stage is 4 rounds.
Right. Okay.
So I shot 6 over the first round, and then I shot 6 over the second round. I can't remember what I shot in the third round. I think or the second round. I came home early. They give you an option that you can withdraw. I was so far behind it, and that was it. Yeah, it was probably one of the longest drive home I've ever had. But,
oh wow!
But yeah, so you have to get through the sort of top 20%, get through to the second stage.
Yeah,
and the next sort of.
Yeah, I've listened to it before and thought it's once you get there, obviously it's such a hard thing to qualify for. Like I said, top 20%. Yeah. And then that's just for the first round. Then you've got the next round.
Then you've got the second stage, and then the final stage, which is over 6 rounds. There's a good few thousand pros enter at the beginning, and then there's only 25 tour cards given out at the end. So it's
crazy.
It's tough, but it's sort of the only way you can do it quickly, I guess, that you can leapfrog the system as such.
Yeah, I guess you can go through the tours, can't you? Like obviously you're probably trying now get into the Order of Merits, and then you can get chances to go play on Euro Pro, and I guess try and get your card that way. But yeah, anyone. Yeah. And I said, if you've got a bit of money, you can always go, just put your name down, off you go. Maybe I'll do that next year.
So like Euro Pro, you finish top 5 in the Order of Merit at the end of the year, and that gives you a Challenge Tour card. Yeah. And then once you've got a Challenge Tour card, you've got a chance, I guess, because then the top few get then a European Tour card out of that, and you can maybe get some invites and things. So I think it's a big step just moving on from Euro Pro, and that's when you can give yourself some opportunities.
I can imagine. Wow. Right, so obviously we got hit by coronavirus now. So obviously we've seen you in your back garden. Today you had no top on. Don't know what you were doing there, but I'll leave that to you.
Trying to work on the tan lines.
So obviously you've been working on your swing. I've even asked you for a few tips. You've helped me out quite a lot, actually. What was it you're actually working on? And obviously, what's your plan coming out of lockdown and for the rest of the year, if there is a rest of the year?
So about probably 6 weeks, 2 months ago, actually, my friend Ben Evans, who plays on tour, he introduced me to a new guy he'd been working with, Tom Bailey, who lives local to us. So I got in contact with him, and he's been helping me out. I haven't actually seen him in person yet, just been helping me out, where we've sent probably a couple of hundred videos between each other of my swing and him helping me out on WhatsApp. And so I've just been working in my garden on some quite big changes, really, actually. But so it's going to take a while to start working, but
you said big changes. It all looks perfectly fine to me, Michael, if I'm honest. But I'll let you be the judge of that. So, so
it's getting better. It is getting there. So
good stuff. So I think I've seen a couple of tours of release dates of when they're going to play tournaments again. So have you got your eyes on one of them, or is it just Euro Pro? They announced at the beginning of this whole Corona thing that they were cancelling the whole year, so there's no Euro Pro at all. And so it was really only the Jamaica left. Yep. And the Jamaica really recently said, I think the 1st of June or July, the 1st of July. Yep. So that's the sort of the date that we're looking at. But I think golf courses are opening. Obviously, then members are not going to want to give up their golf courses, and then there's hotels and restaurants and the logistics of it. It's not as simple as it's sort of just a drive and play. No. So I guess you're almost sort of writing off 2020 and sort of restart again next year, I guess. Yeah, it'd be nice to play a few events. They're hoping to get in sort of 12 events, I think, up to middle of October. So just have to wait and see, really. But yeah, I think the year is pretty much a write-off, but I've got a lot done. So I wouldn't have originally done swing work this time of year. So it's still been productive. So I think it's been productive for a lot of people, especially myself. I feel like I'm coming out of a better swing. I'll find out on Thursday when I play. But I think I definitely understand what I'm doing a lot more now as well, which always helps. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts myself. It's a great time to make changes, really. If you're just stuck in your house or in your garden, if you've got a net, there's no better place to work on new technique than in a net, because you're not worried where the ball's going. Or you can just build yourself one like I did. I tried to be myself one, but it didn't quite work. So. All right, cool. So that's great. Cheers for that, Michael. But obviously, I said the main reasons obviously I wanted to start this podcast was to sort of get advice. So if you were me, I play off 9. Obviously, I've got aspirations to be a professional golfer. I'm not quite sure what level or where I want to go with it right now, but obviously I want to get down to the magic numbers of 4, 3. And see how I get on. So if you could give me, 2 to 3 bits of advice, what would that be? I think the first thing is really make sure you've got like a PGA pro or someone to work with, get a program with them. And if you're committed you want to improve, you're not just looking for a quick fix, then you've got to stick with that program and improve through that way and just be persistent with it. I think that's a big thing is, not just looking for a quick fix, but realising that sometimes to change a swing, it's a long process, but it's worthwhile in the end. No, good stuff. Yeah, I've definitely learned that over the last sort of 2 years. So, over me personally, I've had 2 coaches in the last 2 years. I'm now with a guy called Finley Mitchell over at Harpenden. Since May last year, and we've made some major changes over that time. So. And I have stuck to the process, and I've gone through some bad times, lots of shanks. I've come out the other end. I feel it looks like you're swinging it better. So cheers. So he's got me doing that, which is good. All right, cool. That's a good bit of advice. So what would your second bit of advice be then?
So yeah, my second bit of advice would really be to try and play with people that are better than you. So I was lucky enough. I grew up at, I'm based at a golf club called Settlescombe Golf Club, and they've got a residential golf school there. So at some points when I was a junior, there was up to like 12 PGA pros there. Good facilities and that. So I've always grown up. When I was growing up, I've always been around players that have been better than me. So I've been able to play with them and learn from them, really. So I think that's a good bit of advice, to just try and play with people that are better than you, really.
Well, with that in mind, we'll get a game in. You can show me a few things.
We'll have to sort it out, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you could give one more bit of advice, what would that be?
The other thing would be, and something I think would be good advice for me if I could go back to say to myself, would just be to play more.
Okay, so one of my questions was going to be actually, what sort of percentage would you say play versus was training? So, like you just said, you wish you'd actually played more than practiced.
Yeah, so I think, when I first turned pro and as a junior, I always spend all my time on the driving range, really, and not playing many holes. Mm-hmm. Whereas now I tend to, obviously it depends what you're working on. If you've got big changes and things, you need to spend more time on the range.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, just go out and play. For me now, it's just going out and playing and learning how to score, really.
Okay, great stuff. All right, well, thank you, Michael. Thanks for that. I've really enjoyed that chat, and hopefully the guys listening enjoyed it as well. Obviously, I'm going to take a few things away from that. Like I said, the 3 bits of advice you've done. Definitely going to take that on board and see if I can make that some changes in my way that I go about my golf, really. I do train quite a bit, really because of the time that I've got, really. Obviously, like I said, working 8 till 5:30, I feel like going to the driving range is going to benefit me better than sort of going on the golf course at the weekend and killing myself. So,
I also think that's another thing, though, is I think people have a perception that all tour pros are practicing sunrise to sunset 7 days a week, and there's some. I think there was a stat, something about Anthony Kim when he played on tour, that he averaged, I think it was like 9 balls before he teed off, just as a warm up. And obviously it depends. He's more naturally talented, I guess, but it's not about it's not the time, it's the quality, not the quantity. I think that's the big thing, is you're better off putting in half an hour of good practice than 6 hours of just standing there beating balls, really.
Well, that's some good advice, mate. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Well, thanks for being the first ever guest on One Pod Life.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having me.
Cheers, mate. Hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much. And obviously I'll see you on the golf course very soon. We can get that round in.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, enjoy it when you do get out there.
So that was Michael Farrier-Twist with his journey on how he became a professional golfer. And right at the end, obviously, he gave us the tips on how he thinks people can get better, evolve, become better golfers. And those 3 tips were: 1, make sure you get with a good coach and get some lessons in. Like I said, I joined with my coach, Finley Mitchell, back in May last year, and we've made some major changes, which has really helped my game. I had a quick little 1-hour video call with him the other night because obviously going through lockdown, couldn't quite get to see him. But so that's going really well for me. And that's definitely something I always say to people: you've got to have lessons, otherwise you just won't educate yourself to actually understand what you need to do. And even if it does go wrong, then how you can fix it. So that's one of my biggest tips that I give to people. Number 2 was to play with better people. So obviously I'm going to be definitely getting around a golf room with Michael and watch everything he ever does. So watch out for that, Michael. And then number 3 was to play more. Now, this is something I don't do myself. So I'm very much, I get to the range a lot. I work a lot during the days. I can't really get to play much during the weeks or weekends. I just want to go out and play as much as I can. But I do practice a lot during the week. So I'm going to start flipping that around. I think I'm going to start doing a lot more sort of 9 holes in the evenings if I can, or just even 3 or 4 holes. And try and be a little bit less technical, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening to the first ever One Pod Life. If you think there's anyone that I should be talking to, please give me a shout. Send me their details. I'll try and get in touch and see if I can get hold of them. I do have a long list of professional golfers to speak to, and I can't wait to actually get this series up and running properly. So yeah. Don't forget to, wherever you listen to this, on Spotify, Google Podcasts or iTunes Podcasts, make sure you subscribe. Make sure so you get updates when my next episode comes out. Already got talks of when I'm going to do that, so keep an eye out for that one. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram on onepodlife. So once again, thank you for listening, guys, and hopefully I'll see you again on the next episode. Thank you very much.